Bonjour. Bon, vous suivez comme moi, je suis...
Hello. Well, I imagine, like me, you're following the debate currently taking place at the National Assembly about the state budget. Here's some bad news. Moreover, it has now emerged that the 2 million people who receive RSA, that is, the allowance given to those who have reached the end of their unemployment benefits, are to lose a payment they used to receive in December, known as the Christmas bonus. Now, immediately, some people reacted by saying, "Oh, really, there's a bonus to buy toys for the children?" Why do they say that? The government decides to abolish the Christmas bonus for those without children. So, I need to give you a bit of background so you understand what we're talking about. This bonus was introduced in 1998. Since then, it has been paid to everyone. It has never been increased, unfortunately. If it were to be revalued today, it would need to rise by 53% to be equivalent to its 1998 level. So, it's not some kind of generous favor to people who don't need it. Quite the opposite, it goes to those who genuinely do. And it came at Christmas because, for every family, Christmas brings extra expenses, whether it's travel to see relatives and spend the holidays together, or simply because it's the one time of year when people allow themselves a proper meal, perhaps even the best of the quarter. And then there are the presents. That's why this bonus is so important in people's lives.
Soit parce qu'on voyage pour rejoindre la famille et passer Noël ensemble, soit parce que c'est l'occasion où on fait le bon repas du mois ou des fois même du trimestre, et aussi parce qu'il y a les cadeaux. Voilà la raison pour laquelle c'est une prime qui a une grande importance dans la vie des gens. C'est difficile de le comprendre quand on est à l'aise soi-même, qu'on ne prend pas la mesure de l'état de dénuement.
It's hard to grasp when you're personally comfortable, when you don't fully appreciate the level of deprivation in which so many of our fellow citizens live. I'm talking about over 2 million people. Let's not forget that the RSA is 646 euros a month. People are expected to live on that for an entire month. Among those on RSA without children, 1 in 2 suffers from an acute sense of loneliness because poverty isolates. Poverty isn't only about lacking money. It strips you of relationships, encounters, visits, of everything that connects you to others. Poverty means endless deprivation of food, which is the case for 1 in 5 RSA recipients, and, needless to say, of cultural outings or any other forms of leisure. All of that disappears. Poverty is all of this combined, and yet we are a wealthy nation, with some people who are extremely rich, others less so, but still living comfortably, myself included, and we have no right to turn our backs on those who have nothing or so very little. We cannot simply shrug and say, "Oh, everything they're given is just charity." No, we must stand in solidarity with one another, because no one chooses to be on RSA. It's not true that people choose unemployment. Of course, there may be a few exceptions here and there, but for the vast majority, people endure poverty. They are trapped by it. And when you're trapped in poverty, it's incredibly difficult to escape, because escaping requires endless steps, forms to fill in, offices to visit, all things that quickly become inaccessible to many. That's why, as a developed and wealthy society, we have an obligation, not an option, to care for everyone. An obligation. We are duty-bound to look after those living in deprivation in our country. Now you know the background. You also know that, for reasons that are hard to justify, it's been decided that those without children, who previously received it like everyone else, will no longer get it. Meaning they won't even be able to buy a small gift for other people's children, perhaps for their grandchildren, or for the children of a partner they live with, whether occasionally or permanently. They won't be taking the train to join family dinners, because they can't afford the trip. I wanted to tell you this because it's truly shocking to see the brutality, the cruelty, and indifference towards others that now prevails within the government.
D'affection et d'amour. Et ainsi de suite. Que vous n'irez pas avec le train au repas de famille parce que vous n'avez pas le moyen de vous payer ce voyage. Je voulais vous le dire parce que il est absolument incroyable de voir la brutalité, la cruauté, l'indifférence aux autres qui gagne à l'intérieur du gouvernement. L'autre jour, le ministre qui a décidé d'augmenter les conditions dans lesquelles on expulse des gens, il y a donc eu cette année un record d'expulsion.
The other day, the minister who tightened the conditions for evicting people announced that this year saw a record number of evictions. Entire families have been thrown out of their homes because they could no longer pay their rent. And he said, I stand by it. Well, this year alone, 900 more people have already died on the streets. Such cruelty, such indifference, brings absolutely nothing to society. Each time, these measures are presented as if they benefit the rest of society. But you gain nothing from having people stripped of everything, cast out onto the streets with their children beside them. At the same time, you know that this year has seen a record number of babies dying on the streets. How can we accept such a reality? What kind of society have we become? Do you know what it would cost to maintain the Christmas bonus for those without children? Just 0.067% of the combined wealth of the country's 10 richest fortunes. So perhaps I should address them directly. Why not contribute, give this money to the state so that we can continue to spread, not much, just a little joy, a small smile at a time when it's Christmas? Because Christmas is for everyone, not only for those who can afford it.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that we will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest news makers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.